If there were no PKI or HTTPS, hackers would swipe your bank login faster than you can say password 123. This is Intellectual Point. We help people get jobs in tech. Public key infrastructure is the unsung hero of the internet, locking down transactions, signatures, and secret chats. Without it, online banking and secure browsing, toast. Security engineers slap SSL and TLS certs on websites, sysadmins wield it for secure emails, and cloud security pros encrypt cloud goodies. Real-world example, that little HTTPS in your browser. It's PKI shielding your data from nosy cyber thieves. Think of it as an internet's bouncer. You shall not pass. No key, no entry. Let's turn things over to Intellectual Point instructor, Stephen.
First, we're going to talk about PKI, the public key infrastructure, what a public key is, what a private key is, and what key escrow is. Now, PKI, ultimately, it's a framework. So your organization uses a bunch of different frameworks. We've already talked about a couple of frameworks that they use. This just helps us guides us to the appropriate ways to run our security programs in our organization. But this is a framework that helps us to secure comms and data exchange over networks. So when we're transmitting data back and forth, PKI is a framework we can use to make sure we're doing it safely and securely. And it uses a combination of hardware, software, policies, and procedures, a bunch of different things to make sure this happens the way it's supposed to. Now, it uses a key system to achieve this. Think of a key like this, like your house key. That's a key, okay? So it uses something called public keys and private keys. And we're going to go into depth on what these are in the encryptions lesson. Like PKI relies on these keys, which is known as the asymmetric encryption, which uses a pair of keys. And the pair of keys is called a public key and a private key. So I want you to think about public key and private key. We're going to go into great detail later. This is a private key and this is a pub key, okay? Those are the two keys, and they always come in a set in the asymmetric encryption system. Now, I know you don't know what asymmetric encryption is. Don't worry about it. We're going to get to it, okay? But for now, just know it comes with two keys. Now, the key components of PKI is one, public key cryptography, the underlying technology that enables secure data exchange. This is what the purpose of this is. This is what it does. It uses digital certificates, which is proof, provides non-repudiation. Remember, that was that security goal. We want it. Provides non-repudiation. We want it. It's a way to ensure we know the identity of the holder and we know it's trustworthy. It's issued by a certificate authority. We got a certificate authority. This is kind of like the DMV. If you think about your driver's license and how you get it, you got to go to a person who issues driver's license. That's what a certificate authority is. They issue what's called a digital certificate. Now, you may not know what a digital certificate is, but a digital certificate is kind of like your driver's license. Your driver's license allows you to drive a motor vehicle. It tells the rest of the world that you're capable of safely operating that motor vehicle. If we want to run a website, we would apply for a digital certificate, which would tell the rest of the world, everybody who visits our website, that we're trustworthy enough to run a legitimate website. It provides trust. It provides integrity. It provides a lot of different things. It provides security. That's what a digital certificate provides. The same way your driver's license provides those things to somebody that you're transporting. If you were an Uber driver, you would want to have a driver's license. If you were a customer, you would not want to get in a car with an Uber driver who did not have a license. The same is true with a digital certificate. If your website that you're visiting does not have one of these, you are not going to want to visit the site, right? Now, for companies to get digital certificates, they must apply for them by submitting what's called a CSR, certificate signing request, and that's going to go to a certificate authority. That's like the DMV. They get this certificate signing request, and they look at everything that the company has submitted. Think about IP Cyber. IP Cyber wants to run a website. They will create or submit an application to a certificate authority using the CSR for that digital certificate. The CSR will be filled out by IP Cyber. It'll go to the certificate authority. They'll review the application. They'll review that CSR. And if everything works out fine, they'll issue IP Cyber a digital certificate. IP Cyber will take the digital certificate and they will install it onto their web server. And now they can safely run a website. Whenever someone visits the website will present that digital certificate and say, hey, I'm a trustworthy website operator. I'm good to go. Look at me. Hey, this is who I am. This is how long I've had my license for. Nobody who has visited my site has been compromised. That's what a digital certificate is, okay? All something the PKI provides. PKI provides all this. We also have registration authority, the RA. This entity that verifies identities before certificates are issued. So this is another entity in the process. We have something called the CRL, the Certificate Revocation List, all part of the digital certificates process. The CRL is a list of revoked certificates. So if you're visiting a website and you ask that website for its identification, its license to say, hey, I need to see your certificate so I know that you're trustworthy and I can shop online at your website without being compromised. If something happens to you while you're on that site, then their certificate can be revoked. In other words, one of their customers became a victim of a cyber attack because of a security flaw that existed on their website. Well, IP Cyber would lose their certificate and it would be added to the CRL. Kind of like if your driver's license is suspended, it's added to a list and the police can check it in the event that they pull you over. They can say, oh, your license is suspended. You're not allowed to drive. It's the same with a website. And that's what a CRL is. It's a certificate revocation list. We also have something known as key management. PKI deals with key management. This is the process for generating, storing, and protecting keys. Okay, so that's these keys up here. Now, to generate these keys, we use mathematical algorithms combined with policy, which is what we talked about when we were talking about the PKI. It will generate these keys and it will issue the keys out to users. Okay, but again, we're going to talk more about that later. Now, the way that the math works to generate these keys is key management. Okay, how it's managed, how it's generated, how it's stored, how it's protecting these keys. These keys are critical. Okay, critical keys. Key escrow is a security management process in which cryptographic keys are stored by a trusted third party. So we can store these keys with a third party if we want to. Kind of like your car. Think about your car has a set of keys. If you wanted, you could store your key with the dealership and they would hold a spare copy of your key just in case anything ever happened. You could get a copy of your key. You can do this, and when you do, it's known as key escrow. Now, you individually might not be that interested in storing your keys in key escrow, but a company who has 500 employees and they all have keys that are issued to them, if they have to lay off an employee or if an employee quits, they may need a copy of those keys. So in that case, they would want a key escrow to store all those copies of all those keys for those employees, right? So important here, if you see purple, it's important. Purple equals important. Key escrow is a great way to securely store an encryption key for a data set, especially when multiple entities may need to access it. So that's purple for important. And remember, the primary purpose of PKI is secure data exchange. It does all of these things to ensure secure data exchange.
Want to master PKI and keep the web safe? Come to Intellectual Point. We have live instructor-led training and on-demand training for cybersecurity and AI courses. We will help you launch your career in IT. Thanks for watching, and I hope you like and subscribe to Intellectual Point.